And we're back here on the Chanticleer Sports Network as we get ready to round out our three-game road trip. It takes us to Jonesboro, Arkansas, as the Chanticleers look to pick up back-to-back wins, matching up against Arkansas State. Time now for our Chanticleer Spotlight as we catch up with Jameson Tucker. A big night in the mountains in Boone, North Carolina. Jameson, first, before we get into kind of the ins and outs, the progression of this offense that we have seen over the last several weeks, give us a little insight about yourself and what the whole whirlwind of college football has been like for you and your time here at Coastal.
Well, redshirt sophomore from Malden, South Carolina. Started off as a walk-on, came on a preferred walk-on offer, and just kept my head down for 2 years and worked. And this year I earned a starting spot, and we're not looking back. An amazing year, getting closer with my teammates, and just playing a lot better football than a lot of people expected, and I love it.
Now, how have you been able to have that sort of head-down mindset?
Well, my dad, he always told me from a young age, do everything to your fullest power for God. So do everything you do, you should do your best for the Lord, and that's actually what I do. I try to go by that every day in the classroom and especially on the field. So just really on the field, I just keep that as my motto, my mantra, and I just keep my head down and work, and I guess I got noticed.
The bonding you mentioned, going on the road and being able to hang out with the guys in the hotel room, and the program as a whole, do things that a lot of young people are never going to be able to experience. And as you said, been able to do that all in the while trying to fight for playing time to get an opportunity to perform. How just cool and surreal has that been for you to see where you've been and where you're at, and maybe where you're going?
Man, it's so cool, man. Like, I know some of my good friends, I'll be lined up outside and I'll look inside, and there they are, just playing with me, we're playing together, and it's a real feeling just knowing I can bond with them. I can be with them in the hotel, play around with my brothers, but then when it's time to get business done, I can look in and we're on the same mission.
Now, when we went through the portion of that game at Appalachian State where we were in the lead for most of the night, and then all of a sudden, the final couple of minutes, things break their way. Thankfully, the ball bounced into T-Money's breadbasket as Keontae Lusk punched it out after getting burnt on some coverage. Were we waiting, and not to say we're hoping that a bounce goes our way, but I felt during the course of our struggles early on this season, things weren't going our way. We might have shot ourselves in the foot from time to time, but at one point or another, you would hope that you get a bounce that just makes you feel good. Do you feel that there was a collective sort of sigh of relief, saying, "Hey, we know we're talented. We know we just maybe need a break here or there to maybe change the direction of where this season goes"?
Well, I don't think it's that. Our coaching staff, we preach 1-0 mentality. So whatever happens the play before, whatever happens before, you just forget about it. 1-0. So you win the next rep, and you win the next rep after that, no matter what happens. So really, it was just all right, whatever happened. Let's go on to the next play. And I commend Lusk for that, and Abe, because whatever happened. You see, Keontae went down in cover 3. Whatever happened. 1-0. He sprints back and strips the ball out. So it doesn't get much better than that.
Oftentimes throughout the course of a practice and a grind of a season, those sorts of things can wear on you, where you might not pay as much attention or attentiveness to those sorts of things, where you could drop your head and say, "Hey, I lit up the team, and we lost the game because of me." That doesn't seem to be the case with the coaching staff in terms of holding your players, their players accountable, and obviously what we saw as an example of that, highlighting the fact that it's not over until the whistle blows.
Yes, sir. And I know they've been preaching get to the ball. I know the defensive coaches have been preaching get to the ball all since they've gotten here. Fall camp, even when the play is over, we'll be going to hand the ball back to our equipment manager, and they'll punch it out of our hands. So they've been training for that forever.
Now, offensively, I think we've done some really good things over the last couple of weeks. Obviously, the turnovers impacted us in a big way. In the loss to Georgia Southern, we did not turn the ball over against Appalachian State, and that proved to be a big difference maker. Do you feel like the offense is progressing now to a point where we'll be firing on all cylinders, for a complete 60-minute contest?
I feel like we are. Our coaching staff preaches know your role, and I feel like everybody, it's about week 7, week 6, week 7, everybody's knowing their role, and everybody's getting to master their role. So I feel like we are improving
through the course of the year, you add new elements, maybe a page or two extra to the playbook. You have a core as to what coach wants to do from an offensive standpoint. Each week, do we add in a few other elements? And I don't want to say by sort of a surprise, but other teams have their scout on you, and they know what you want to do. Obviously, you want to impose some of that will, but do we add a few extra nuggets to that playbook during practice each week to expand upon what we're trying to accomplish?
Well, there's always stuff like that, but then again, it just depends on who we're playing and what kind of defense they play, whether it's 3 down, 4 down, whether they play a jack off the edge or a nickel close. A lot of time is based off the opponent.
Without giving us too much, behind the scenes here, when we look at the Arkansas State defense coming up this weekend, how does it differ from what Appalachian State presented to you in terms of challenges, and what do you think we can do to move the football and hopefully punch it in for 6?
A lot more quarters coverage, but just execution. We know what to do, whatever coverage is played, we'll know what to do and how to beat it.
Given all the things that we've been through this year, obviously trip to the West Coast, now in the midst of 3 straight road games, some ups and downs and frustration, I'm sure at times, that we're not getting it right or we're not executing to our ability. Do we feel that we've got the talent to compete with anyone? And ultimately, as Coach just said a moment ago, it's more or less about us and how we go about our business rather than looking on the opposing sideline.
We always think it's more about us because we know we have the talent to compete with anyone in the conference and anyone outside of the conference. We just have to put it together and execute.
Now, when we go to a place like Appalachian State and grab a win, something this program has never done before, in the previous 6 tries, do you feel like it gave us a little bit of an edge here in that we had a couple of days to kind of let that soak in and enjoy it? Take a break, go see your families, hang out with the boys, and then come back refocused and settled, for a true kind of game week where we get to play on a Saturday night?
I feel like it did. It was a nice rejuvenation, a nice, you take time off, and then you come back, you really get to enjoy. You really get to enjoy what you do every day for a living.
And so many times, you can't, enjoy those wins because it's right back to work, the very next week. So we had a couple of extra days to kind of put it in the back burner. And then oftentimes, when you do pick up a big win, then we say that maybe there's a hangover, going into the next contest. And do you feel, as we've worked through practice this week, that there is, any lingering hangover, or are the guys refreshed and ready to, crank this thing out later this week?
The guys, we're really refreshed, ready to go get a win. Like I said, coaching staff says 1-0 mentality, so even that's in a win and a loss. So we won. We went to the Rock, got our first win, but now it's time to go down to Jonesboro, get another win. All
right, to wrap it up, just really put a bow on this thing, just in terms of yourself as an individual, all the work that you've put in over the last couple of years, how you've just kind of, as the old cliche is, you brought the lunch pail and the hard hat to work every day, and some of these long days and tough practices are finally paying off for you. How much does that mean to you?
It means so much, man. Like, I don't think, getting a scholarship, man, calling my mom after, it was like a finally people get to see what I can do. Finally, and it's not going to stop. That was one of the best moments of my life. And just being here now where I am, I just want to keep going. I just want to, 100 yards, why not 200? 1 touchdown, why not 2 touchdowns, So I just want to keep going, and I just got to give it all to God. Without him, none of it's possible.
Let's go do something Saturday night, and we look forward to seeing you out there on the field. Good conversation with you, Jameson. Thanks so much for the time.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, that's Jameson Tucker once again. Look forward to big things with him and the Chanticleer offense coming up Saturday against Arkansas State. We'll continue here on the Myrtle Beach Family Golf Countdown to kick off right after this on the Chanticleer Sports Network.